This whole negotiation process, I know you kind of stay out of it, but was it tough just kind of, being in limbo, waiting for the deal to get done?
Yeah, it sucked. The deal wasn't really that difficult. It was more other things that were slowing it down. My dad has management. He had a lot of other things going on with other contracts. Really, the contract probably should have been thrown together a week or so ago. But we weren't able to sign up to a strike force till around now anyways, and then strike force kind of just cut it last minute. So it would have opened it up a little faster. That's when we started moving in to get the contract locked up.
Yeah. So now, going backwards, of course, we talked to you after the strike force fight, and we knew you were a free agent, and we talked to Scott Coker, and they said that they were gonna talk to you, but I kind of always got the sense that they were kind of giving up. They kind of knew you didn't want to be there anymore. What were your thoughts? I mean, did you ever have an intention of going back to strike force?
No, I never had intention of going back to the strike force. There's nothing against them. I don't think they're a bad show. I just think UFC is it's the prime show right now. Everyone knows UFC is their spot to be, and it doesn't mean strike force is bad. I mean, I think it's good they're out there, but they're just not, being a strike force champ's cool and all, but I really had a dream of being the UFC champ, so I want to go out there and try to make it happen.
Yeah. When they brought in Dan Henderson, I don't think it's any giant secret, Jake. We talked about this. Is that I think everyone thought they're bringing in Dan Henderson to beat Jake Shields and to be their champion. You beat him. Not only did you ruin that, I think you beat basically the best guy they had. I mean, did that play a factor at all? That you beat their number one guy. You beat who was probably the number one guy in the UFC when he left.
Yeah, I don't think they're very happy about that. I think their whole plans were, I was actually planning on dropping back to 170s for my last fight of my contract, but they used my last fight. They were really pushy about me staying up, and I mean, I knew their motives, of course. They thought Henderson beat me, but I was like, all right, if you want to do that. So after I beat him, I think they seemed pretty upset. So at that point, we didn't really talk afterwards.
Yeah. So have you ever talked to anyone from Strikeforce since then?
No, not really. A few things here and there, I showed up for the Strikeforce fight to go watch when I was still the champ before they released me, and they didn't have any tickets, so I think that made it pretty clear.
So your dad had talked about you coming in at 185, and now we know you're dropping back to 170. What was the thought process? Kind of walk us through the decision making here.
Yeah, I was I was completely undecided the whole time. I just wanted, big fights, and I know GSP is tied up well at Koscheck fights. I was thinking maybe going into 85s, and because since my weight's already up. But then, they called and asked if I wanted this fight at 70s, and said sure. They definitely didn't give me any pressure. They gave me the option. I mean, some people were saying that I think I was forced to it now, which certainly wasn't the case. They said I could fight either way, but they'd offered me a fight at 70s, and I was like, might as well jump and take it.
Yeah. Well, because I know Dana had said in one of the press conferences, he kind of thought you'd be, a better at 170, just because of some of the guys that fight at 185. And I know you said you were open to either, but I mean, I think in my mind, Jake, it was, you're basically one fight, if not already the number one contender if you drop back to 170. Did that play anything into it?
Obviously if I'm close to getting a title shot at 70, that's a huge factor, and I don't know. I'm not really sure, if this will be a number one contender fight or not. That hasn't been mentioned to me, but I know if it's a good chance to go out there and look really good at doing it, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
And, GSP is a fight I've wanted for like 3 years now. So,
so in other words, when he fights Josh Koscheck, you're kind of hoping for that St. Pierre win.
Yeah, it's actually a tough fight, because I'm actually, I like Josh Koscheck, and a lot of people don't, but I do like Josh Koscheck. He's, I would consider him like kind of a friend, or at least positive acquaintances, but, unfortunately, I'll probably have to root for GSP on that one.
Yeah, you've been talking about that one for a long time.
I don't mean a negative way towards Josh Koscheck. I like him, but, I just thought the fight I'd prefer to have would be, I think it's just a bigger fight.
Yeah. Well, you've been wanting that GSP fight for a long time.
Yeah, but I think Koscheck's going to give him a tough fight. I certainly won't be an easy fight for GSP.
Now, you talked about going for a run. I got to ask you honestly, Jake, how will you adapt your body? You fought at 170 for so long, and I know you had to kind of, grow and adapt to fight at 185. How are you going to do it?
I'm trying to lose the weight and keep the most strength as possible. I have a strength trainer who's got me on my diet and my regimen, so hopefully it works. So right now I need to lose. I'm up close to about 195, so I'm pretty big, so I need to get down to about low 180s. So
yeah,
I'm doing a lot of running right now, and hopefully it'll take the weight off and keep most of my strength.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll get faster and better condition though as well as I drop.
Well, I know it was funny because you kind of remind me of Anderson Silva, because when he went up to 205, he looked just as big as everybody up there. When you and Henderson stood up, I was like, I think Jake actually looks a little bigger than Dan. So I mean, you've obviously adapted your body pretty well.
Yeah, I got a great strength trainer. He's able to put the weight on, so now we got to do the opposite and take it off.